As someone who has played League of Legends way too much, it has taken me an embarrassingly long time to watch Arcane. But after having it on my watch list for a while, I finally decided to see it. And to be completely frank, Arcane is fucking awesome. I think one of the most obvious and also most talked about points of praise for the show is its animation. And it is a most deserving compliment. The animation is single-handedly the best thing about the show. It is stylistic, expressive, and unique. It stands leagues apart, pun intended, from the metric ton of sloppy animation that is pumped out these days. Piltover's sleek, utopian landscape, the grungy, sepulchral underbelly that is Zorn, and Echo's grassroots community that serves as a middle ground between these two extremes. You can tell that the animators have poured their heart and soul into their work, and what results is some of the most downright fun animation in recent years. There is also a strong cohesion between the direction and the animation. I mean, you can animate things to look cool and pretty, but what's significantly harder is using animation as a medium to enhance the story. One example that sticks out quite well in my mind are the two fights between Vi and Savika. The first one is a lot more slow and staggered, in the sense that the movement feels heavy and each punch feels dense. There's also minimal cutting on action to reinforce this. Compare this to their later fight, which is a lot more fluid and dynamic. The higher energy and momentum is also not a replacement for the impact of the punches, they still go pound for pound. The editing is also a lot more rapid. Both scenes depict a fight between the same characters, but the direction and the animation and editing are stylistically very different and create an emotional evolution. The show ends up tackling a lot of different storylines, quickly jumping from place to place. It's not anything new. I mean, you have siblings separated when young, one guy betraying another guy who was like a brother to him, the struggle between the bourgeoisie and the oppressed, a ragtag team of rebels, the whole storyline of where you gotta get that thingamabob that could destroy the whole world. It's all stuff that we've seen before, very recognizable story threads. What the show attempts to do is weave all these threads together. It can feel at times like there is a struggle to balance all these narratives, but the overall effort is very, very commendable. From the socio-political tensions in Piltover to the emotional tensions on an individual level, the show does a lot to explore the macro and micro elements of its world. We really get to explore the individuals and institutions that make up Piltover and Zorn. And even as someone who already knows about this world, I found myself being enamored with the amount of world building that the show commits itself to, which is a great thing. Certainly there are some plot threads that feel a little underdeveloped, and I was left craving for more, certainly. But whilst I might be inclined to call the show's writing overambitious, I have to recognise the fact that there is always room to flesh things out. Aside from the animation though, my other favourite aspect of the show is its characters. Vi, Jinx, Jace, Victor, Echo, Caitlyn, they're all written really well, have compelling personalities, and each feel distinct and special. I love how they handled Jinx's madness. She can feel at times truly terrifying. The great chemistry between Caitlyn and Vi is also a highlight, and I love how their dynamic also affects the story by making Jinx distrust Vi further. The show even makes me care about characters like Jace. I went from seeing him as a top/mid laner who I didn't really give a shit about, to a character whose motivations and hardships I was fully invested in. I mean, say what you want about League, but it undeniably has a treasure trove of interesting lore, and to see it being put on screen is amazing. The character that I adore the most though is not even a League champ, Silco. Silco is just incredible. He's far more than just your typical villainous villain. You feel his constant struggle to keep the Undercity from crumbling. In his eyes, he's really doing what's best for his people. We see him acting cool and menacing in front of others, but we also get to see him at his most vulnerable. When he's at his desk, stressing out. His relationship with Jinx is incredibly compelling. You see him as a surrogate father who truly cares for his daughter, not being willing to give her up, even if it means achieving what he always dreamed of. and in the end, he dies at her hands. I really like what they did with Silco, and the same applies to many of the other characters as well. And this is what makes the show so strong, in my opinion. Unparalleled animation and great character writing. Oh yeah, my bad. I also forgot to mention this one other thing that the show does really well. It has unparalleled vibes. I mean, I don't think it needs to be said that the vibes of the show are off the charts. It's moody and suspenseful and eerie and hopeful and even a little unhinged at times. You just feel so immersed in the setting and the atmosphere. It's amazing. Okay, I think I've made my point pretty clear. I've gushed about this show enough. Arcane is awesome. But I had an idea to do something that would show just how much I appreciate this show. Something that I'm not entirely used to doing. I had the wise idea, to make an Arcane fan edit.
I wanna stay inside forever, in that worn out yellow sweater. The warmth I used to feel is still there. Heavy sighs like clouds surround me. Why do they feel so lonely? I can't pretend to care. I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to find a way in this unrelenting world where I promised that I would stay. I'll figure it out, then you'll see I'm everything I ever claimed to be. Smile through the dark to the sky, laugh away. Never thought I'd put my phone down, suffocating in a bubble. Who's wearing the crown? Everyone's looking for the next big thing, while I'm still so lost in a closing ring of faces. The shameless, constantly walking an endless road to the moon, to the stars. And I hope to God you get far. And eternity's too long to stay on the stage. When will I turn the next page? Let me stay inside forever, in that worn out yellow sweater. When will the colors fade? This pretty, pretty palette of dull shades. What's the definition of a good friend? It's hard to tell in this mad race to the end. Can I live so unafraid? I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to find a way in this unrelenting world where I promised that I would stay. I'll figure it out, then you'll see I'm everything I ever claimed to be. Smile through the dark to the sky, laugh away.
Thanks for watching.